Hello, you guys. Today is January the 3rd. It is a Thursday. No, it is a Wednesday. And today I thought I would make a little to-do list and talk about my New Year's resolutions. So I think the first one I really want to talk about is social media and YouTube and this channel, because I started this channel in 2022 before I had my son Boston, and I think I made maybe 1 or 2 videos and I just couldn't keep up with it because we were moving, we were having a baby. And last year I made a video every few months, which I am really proud of. I know it's not very much, but being a new mom, working a full-time job, and also trying to build a new community since we moved from Boston to Indianapolis, I feel like that was pretty good. Making a couple videos a year. I am really proud of myself for starting this channel, but this year I want to make it a goal to at least make 1 video a month or even more than that. So that is one of my goals for this year. And my prayer for this channel is that it can be a community that encourages one another, that loves one another, that builds each other up, that leads each other closer to Christ. And that is my biggest dream and prayer for this channel. I feel like a lot of times I don't want to film because I feel like my days are boring, and that I feel like I don't do much because all I do is really either work or stay at home with my son, and we do small group or hang out with some friends, and that's just kind of my life. I don't really do a whole lot, but I do want to document my family and my life, and also just show you guys that you can just be a mom, be a wife, and work full-time and still have a life of abundance and joy. And that is something that I personally needed to be reminded of a lot last year. And there are a couple of YouTubers that I follow that have really done that for me. And I am praying that this platform can be the same for some of you guys. And even if I just reach a couple of people, that is enough for me. So that is my prayer for this channel. And so hopefully I can film more, that I can feel encouraged to film more, even if it's just my boring, mundane life at home. Just videos of homemaking and being a mom, being a wife, following the Lord. That is the content that you guys will be seeing. Social media is something that I've always had an interesting relationship with, because I feel like for years, since like high school and even throughout my college years, it was something that I really idolized, because I feel like these days social media is how people judge one another. Whenever you meet someone, you will follow them on Instagram or friend them on Facebook, and it's almost like whatever you see on that platform, you make your judgment about that person based on what you see. And so for a long time, I had an Instagram account that I really clung on to because I thought I had a lot of followers and made me look cool. I was traveling a lot, and so all my posts were just all about me, and it was very time consuming. It was overall just so consuming, and I knew for years that I had idolized Instagram above God. And even the thought of deleting that Instagram was so devastating. Like, I would have this feeling of devastation that I would be a nobody if I deleted that Instagram, which is so dramatic, right? But that's how I felt. And I was young and I felt like I was gonna lose everything. And so one summer, it was COVID, and I really felt this conviction from the Lord to delete it. I had felt that conviction for a really long time, but that was a summer where I really felt it so strongly, and that it was something I needed to do in order for me to grow closer to the Lord, because deleting that Instagram ultimately would lead to freedom from sin. I remember deleting it, and then shortly after I regretted it. I regretted it for months, and I was really sad about it because I felt so disconnected from everyone. I felt so much like a nobody. That year was so hard for me, COVID in general. I was very depressed and I could not understand why. And that year I really learned that I was placing my joy on so many other things besides God. And so I finally devoted my time to just spending time in the Word, spending time with God. And that was the perfect year to do it because there were no distractions. It was COVID. And since I was in Boston, they were very strict about quarantine and being in the home. And so a lot of time I spent by myself inside my little apartment, and I really didn't have anything else to do besides spend time with the Lord. So I'm so grateful for that year and what it had taught me. And even though right after I deleted it, it was a work in progress, growing and letting go of my idol for social media. Months later, I finally experienced that freedom that the Bible talks about. And the Bible literally says, that freedom from sin leads to eternal life. And we have been set free from sin, that we once were slaves to sin, but now we are a slave to Christ. And that is ultimate freedom. And that is something I truly experienced that year. And so years later now, even though I've been wanting to do YouTube and social media for years and years, I knew that my fickle little heart could never handle it. Until now, I feel like now I have a really great relationship with social media. I feel like I have a very balanced relationship with social media, and I don't spend hours and hours on it, and I don't feel like it's my identity. And so that is a huge step for me. All that to say, I'm really excited about this channel, and I'm really excited about the future when it comes to my social media and how the Lord is going to use it. That is one of my goals for this year. Where's the circle? Oh, there it is. Mom is gonna, can I have this? Thank you. God is my Father who made everything. And the dog say, woof woof. The cow, moo. I am about to work out. It is freezing cold in the garage today, so I'm gonna put on my workout gloves. We have had this makeshift garage since last year, I wanna say. No, I wanna say the end of 2022. Can't believe it's 2024. And it has honestly been a game changer because we don't have to leave the house to go work out. We can just work out in our garage, but it definitely needs some work. I got these mirrors. They're like little squares, but I realized that there's like a bunch of little nails in the wall, and so I couldn't make them like perfectly aligned. I have some over here too. And I mainly just have them because I want to see my form when I'm working out to see that I'm doing everything correctly. But they're not the most aesthetically pleasing things by any means. So anyway, I am gonna get a quick workout in. Boston is napping. Chad, I think he is going to take a little ice bath. Anyway, after this workout, we will talk about my next New Year's resolution. I just got done with my workout. Let me tell you guys about my next New Year's goal. So this year, I really want to do a sourdough starter. I know that is so basic, but I feel like I love sourdough. I've always purchased sourdough from the store. That's like my choice of bread. I just have always enjoyed it. And so I really just want to try to make my own. and I feel like it'll have better ingredients, more clean ingredients, and so that is something I definitely want to do. And on that same note, I would love to make more things from scratch. I feel like I do this with a lot of things already. I cook a lot at home. We really don't go out to eat much anyway, but just things like bread and some canned goods, you know, things like that. I really just want to do a better job at making things from scratch. And on that same note, I really want to finally start gardening this year. Last year was a little bit crazy because we had just had our baby, and so we really didn't do anything all summer. I really want to start growing flowers and having a vegetable garden and just living that slower paced life, literally farm to table. That is my dream. So I know that that's going to be probably a goal that is going to be ongoing for years and years, but I'm really excited to work on our yard, work on the garden, plant some trees. All of those things are just so exciting to me, and especially because this last year we weren't able to do that, and before moving into this house we only lived in an apartment, so we never had the opportunity to garden or do any of that kind of stuff. So really excited for that for this year. And sticking with the same theme, another thing I really want to work on this year is to live more minimally. This is a really hard goal for me because if I'm being completely honest with you guys, I kind of feel like I have a shopping addiction. Not necessarily like I need to buy everything, but I think just moving into a new house and having a baby, I just feel like I'm constantly buying stuff or thinking about things that I need to buy. I just need to do a better job of being okay with what we have and making what we have right now just work. You know what I mean? So the theme this year is less is more. Less is more 2024. But honestly, I feel like I'm buying stuff on Amazon like every other day just so we can, I mean, a lot of the stuff, yeah, it's things that we need, but I don't know. I just want to do a better job of really only buying stuff that we absolutely need and not buying anything excessive. And I also want to do a better job of thrifting things, or checking out the thrift store first before going ahead and buying something. I am notorious for, I think of something I need and then I buy it immediately. And so I just need to do a better job of just slowing down and being okay with what we have. Like, just because something's not going to get here tomorrow doesn't mean that bad things are going to happen. You know, that is definitely a habit that I need to create. So I think I hear Boston crying. Are you giving Mama a hug? Is Daddy drilling into the wall? just finished eating some lunch. So now I'm gonna talk through the rest of my 2024 goals, and I'm gonna end it off with a little dream that we have for this year. So the next goal for this year is that I really want to pray more boldly and more specifically. So I feel like in the past, I've always prayed in a way that was like, Lord, whatever it is that's your will, that's what I want too. I think that's a great way to pray. I think, leaving everything up to Him, surrendering to Him is such a beautiful and such a hard thing to do. But I don't know how many of you guys out there listen to Jenny Allen. She's amazing, but she was kind of giving this example of her child, coming to her and asking for money, and that child will just always ask, and the child said, you never know until you ask. I think in the same way, we should be the same with our Heavenly Father. We should go to Him with anything, any request that we want to make, knowing that our intentions are good. There is such power in praying specifically and praying boldly. And that's just something that I really want to practice this year, to pray for whether that's specific timing, for a specific thing to happen, for specific people, to really say those names out loud, to pray healing over people, to just pray powerfully, I guess. I feel like that is something that I definitely want to incorporate in my day-to-day life, and to pray in an others-oriented way, and to think about myself less. And that's kind of going along with the theme of less is more this year. That's definitely something I want to work on, is to focus more on our Creator and not so much on myself. Not necessarily thinking less of myself, as Timothy Keller says, but to just think about myself less. And I feel like that is so important and such a crazy thing. It's such a crazy idea to think about myself less. Like, I don't even know how to begin doing that, because we are just by nature such selfish people. And so to not think about myself, like, I don't even know where to start, but that is a habit that I want to start this year. And I feel like the first step for me really was parenthood and becoming a mother, and realizing how selfish I am with my time, with my money, with my things. Becoming a mom has really showed me how much I was spending on myself, how much time I was spending on myself, and how everything in life requires sacrifice. So whether that's your kids or your friends or your husband, like, all of that requires a sense of selflessness. So thinking less about myself this year is the goal. The next thing is to plan more dates with my husband. This is something that we have been talking about since even before we had Boston. When I became pregnant, we talked so much about prioritizing each other, making sure we had date nights, making sure that we still had time for each other. But this is so much easier said than done. And I'll be honest, I don't think we've done the best job of planning dates and spending time away from Boston. I struggled with some pretty heavy postpartum anxiety, and I would say, looking back on it now, there was definitely some depression in there, a lot of emotions, just so much overprotectiveness over my son. Just all the hormones are changing, and I was breastfeeding, and I'm a new mom, and so I'm sure all of that had played a factor in it. But for the first couple months, I seriously did not want to be away from my son. And even like the first day back at work, I just felt so anxious about what was going on at home. And it's not that I didn't trust my husband, but it was just this need to be close to my son at all times. And so that in itself made it really hard to plan any dates. And so for the first, I would say 4 or 5 months, we didn't go anywhere. We didn't want anybody watching our kid, or specifically me. I didn't want anybody watching my kid. And I remember the first time that we went on a date after like 5 or 6 months, the whole time I was thinking about Boston. And I don't want that to be what we're talking about during our dates. I want to talk about me and my husband. I want to talk about our marriage. I want to talk about our dreams together. And obviously, Boston is such a big part of our lives, but I feel like there's something so important about making sure that you have time for your spouse, and time to dream with your spouse, time to talk to your spouse, and you guys are doing life together. It's so important to be on the same page and to know what is going on in each other's lives, in each other's minds, because you could live with someone and they could have no idea what's going on in your mind, what's going on in your heart, what's going on in your prayer life. And it's so easy to slip into that habit of not investing time in each other. So that is a goal this year, is to plan more dates. We definitely don't have the resources to go on a date like once a week. So I would say maybe one monthly outing and every week to schedule in some one-on-one time, whether that's during Boston's naps or during some of his independent play, to just sit down and catch up. That is definitely the goal. And then the last goal for this year is to host more dinners and parties. If you know me, you know that I am somebody who loves themed parties. But since I moved from Boston to Indy, I feel like I'm just now kind of getting into the groove of having community and having friendships. So now I really want to just be able to open up my home and host more dinners and parties, have other couples over, have younger people over, have older people over. Just having an open door policy and being inviting and making people feel like home in our home, that is something that I've always dreamed of and something that I've always wanted. And so just working towards that and always being open to inviting people over, cooking for them, sharing meals together, all of that just sounds amazing to me and it makes me really excited. So I'm gonna end this video on a more vulnerable note, and I feel like this part just makes sense since I'm in Boston's nursery. Our dream this year is that we would become pregnant with baby number 2. This is something that we've been praying for the last couple months. I am so excited for this year and everything that we have to look forward to. I know that 2023 was a whirlwind for us and such a magical, beautiful year. First year of motherhood, seeing Boston grow was so magical. And so I cannot wait to see what this year has in store. I'm gonna end the video here. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time.